Now, part of my premise today is if this is a particularly difficult decision, if you, in some sense you can't just blink the answer, if you've read that kind of popular business book, then there may be a couple other components that are missing that I want to be able to provide for you. But what I want to do is take a moment and just do a case study of a company more our size. If you look in the back of the book, I actually have this area called the appendix. I will never call a section of the book the appendix again because nobody reads the appendix. But in my book, I actually have a set of case studies of real companies our size that have executed on these tools. And one of those is kind of a local D.C. company many folks are familiar with from this area called Marlowe Furniture. And Neil Glickfield, the CEO of the company, had his team here in the fall of 1999. And so I want to kind of share his story. Family owned, started in 1955. His dad founded the company. He then took over later as the son, as CEO. And they had been kind of stuck at about the same industry average profitability for about those 45 years. They retail furniture. For those that aren't familiar with them, they got 5 big box stores, and they're kind of the 10-ton gorilla now in this particular marketplace. And so what was Neil's question? That's what I wanted to know. And he said, well, my real question is personally, and in privately held companies, it's hard to separate personal from the business side. He said, you know, over the next kind of 5 years or so, I would like to be able to buy my dad out. So if we were to kind of fill in his personal one-page plan in that 3 to 5 year column, that would be one of the things he'd like to have the capability to accomplish. But he knew at his profitability that would not be possible. And so sitting right where you are, he decided that the critical number, we don't recommend that an outcome be the driver, but in his case, I could understand the rationale, particularly for the first time. He picked profitability, and he made a bold decision. He said, in the year 2000, we are going to literally double profitability in absolute numbers than what we've ever achieved, or I'm not so sure I want to keep doing the battle that we're having to battle in the marketplace. So he wrote that number down. Now, if he had stopped there, there's no doubt from his perspective they would have ever achieved it. In fact, they had profit-sharing plans for years, and it had just become entitlement programs for the employees. It wasn't moving the needle one bit. The hard work came when his team, sitting where you're sitting over the next 2 days, had, in the Jim Collins term, the brutal conversations. They faced the brutal facts. They said, what is it going to take? Because if we keep doing the same stuff that we've been doing, it's not going to change the results. And after kind of he and hawing and him and around and trying to figure out what to do, they finally had this essentially epiphany. They looked at some external numbers, and they're part of a group where they're able to see the financial results of their cohorts in other cities that are non-competitive. And they knew at the heart of their financial model that they had a problem with inventory turns. If they weren't ever able to double inventory turns, there was no way they were ever going to really appreciably move the needle on profitability. Everything else, as you would say, is just rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. And so he put as the number one priority in that 4th column of his one-page plan, we must double inventory turns. Now, why they were all sitting around being kind of honest about the business, they said, yeah, but we got a problem with our salespeople. We'll have inaccurate orders placed where they'll get the color wrong or the fabric wrong or the model number wrong because they're in a hurry. And those mistakes flow all the way through our organization and cost us real money at the bottom line. And so they put down number 2, we've got to fix our sales order accuracy issue. Well, while we're being honest, hey, our delivery folks, if they drag mud into one of the customer's carpets, into their home, or scratch a piece of furniture along the way, we've got to haul it back. We've got to send a crew out to either clean or fix the problem. Tremendous money that comes right off our bottom line, plus it impacts our customer satisfaction. So they wrote down number 3, we've got to really tighten up this delivery process. And then they wrote 2 more because there were just 5 blanks there.